I don't have time. One of the most common phrases or excuses that you probably are doing to not go work out. So I want to help you in this video so I can teach you the ways that you can save time when you're gonna work out and still build a lot of muscle, because there has been lots of studies with a lot of techniques that you can do to build muscle while saving a lot of time, because sometimes we're in a rush or we need time to do other things. We need to study, we need to work, we need to do some projects, we're working overtime, we need to take care of our family members, which is completely fine. So in this video I really wanted to show you the 5 techniques on how to save time over 30 minutes of your current workout, so this way you can actually still build the same amount of muscle while saving a lot of time. So it's important to know that how experienced you are, because if you're beginning your workout journey but you still think you don't have any time, then if you're convinced as well that you don't have any time, then I want to first show you a technique that you can actually do since starting your muscle building journey, because some of these techniques will require you actually to have some experience, because you need to go and train to failure. If you still don't have any experience training to failure, you think you're training to failure, but actually you have a lot of reps in, right? So for the first one is supersets. And this type of technique, it's one of the, I think the first technique that I did back when I started my muscle building journey around 2020. And there was a routine I bought from Jeremy Ethier, a really good routine, and some of the exercises were actually with some supersets. So for example, you have a chest exercise, right? And we're gonna go with the bench press. And after that, you do a back exercise. So let's say a chest supported row, which is a back exercise. So if you realize your chest and your back do completely different movements and biomechanics, right? So you can actually try to join these 2 exercises together in what you're calling a superset, because you're doing X amount of sets on the chest exercise and then some X amount of sets on the back exercise, right? So instead of just doing set 1, resting 2 minutes, and doing that exercise again, for example, again, if you're doing 2-minute rest by 3 sets, then the 1-minute rest times 3 sets, you already are wasting around 20 minutes in both exercises. But what I can tell you that you can do this in half by doing supersets, which is basically joining these 2 exercises together in a way that you do first this exercise, then this exercise, and later you do a rest of 30 seconds. And then go back to the first exercise until you complete the 3 sets, because this way you're actually saving a lot of time and saving even a lot of energy and mental energy as well, because while you're doing the rows, for example, you're recovering and you're resting the chest exercise set, right? So I really recommend that, for example, if you're doing the bench press, this was a bad example, but you can superset the bench press with the Pendlay row, or you can superset the bench press with barbell row in the same benches and all. A lot of people do it that way and it's great, but I think supersets have been shown to have the same muscle building effects as normal sets. And not only that, you can like superset with something called agonist and antagonist muscles, which is the agonist is the chest, the antagonist is the back, or like you have the agonist, right? Then you have the antagonist. Then let's say the agonist is the chest, then the antagonist is the back. Or the agonists are the quads, the antagonists are the hamstrings. or your calves are the agonists and your tibialis are the antagonists. I think you're getting my point, but you can also try to superset two exercises of two completely different muscle groups. Let's say you can also superset a rear delt exercise, then a front delt exercise, and then you can even do some bicep exercises. So I think this is the most creative one and the most time-saving one. You can do more than 2 exercises in one superset, which is great. So I think you already understand this. Now let's go to the second one here, and it's also a very great technique that I have implemented in less than 1 year, but it have really made me change my perspective on this type of technique. And the second one is myo reps, and this is a bit tricky to understand at the start, but it's basically that when you do your first set, then you rest for 1 minute and 30 seconds, right? You do set 2, you do it again. You do set 3, you do it once again. Now you do your 3 sets, right? If the exercise is, for example, the bicep curls, and you do 3 sets of 12 reps, then this 3 sets you're gonna do the 12 reps, right? But when you finish the 3rd set, instead of resting, you're gonna do a drop set, and this is of 3 reps. So in between these two, you rest only 10 seconds. Do the drop set, and if you could do the 3 reps, rest 10 seconds again, and then do another drop set of 3 reps. If you still did it again, then do it on another one, right? But if you could do more than 3 sets, or if you do less or equal than 2, then you'd stop there because you went to failure. And so the goal here is to go to failure. And what I really like about myo reps is that, for example, again, you have the bicep curls, you're doing 3 sets, but with myo reps, you can actually, instead of doing 3 sets, you can only do 2, and then do the drop sets, or even just 1 set and do the drop sets, because this way you're actually pushing harder and harder and harder in every 3 rep interval until you can't anymore, and you're really gonna feel the stimulus. But now, the big con here, you can do this every rep and or every exercise. I highly recommend that you should only do it to isolated exercises. For example, this can be leg curls, bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, let's say, and so forth. Because if you do it with compound exercises, let's say the bench press or the pendlay row or squats, you're not going to enjoy it. You may actually hurt yourself. So highly recommend only doing with isolated exercises. That's the big con of the myo reps. Still, I highly recommend this technique if you have some experience like me. I already have 4 years in. So a good way to build muscle and also save time is by doing myo reps. Alright, let's get to número 3. Número 3, papá. Vamos a ver. So, the third technique are long lengthened partials. And this is also a very great technique that I really highly recommend every one of you do. And this is something that Milo Wolf, if I'm correct his name, really preaches in all his workouts, because basically, instead of doing, let's say you're doing an exercise that it's of the full range of motion, right? And you finish every rep with the full range of motion, and that's it. You may train actually to failure with the full range of motion, but actually you are not training to failure, because when you finish the full range of motion, that's actually the first part. Then you can do something called long lengthened partials. And if you are watching Sam Sulek, you're gonna realize that at the end of every set he does, especially with back exercises or exercises that you elongate your muscle at the eccentric position, which is every exercise if you realize it, he or she, if it's a woman again, of course, is gonna start doing this. And long lengthened partials is basically only working it in the eccentric part, on the elongated part of the exercise. Because when you start going to failure, you start to realize that you're actually not doing the full range of motion and going into the eccentric part. Now, you don't need to stop there. You can still continue and do some long lengthened partials and actually do some repetitions of this type to actually keep stimulating the muscle. And this is great, especially if you're like don't have any time and let's say you need to do those 3 sets. Then if you do long lengthened partials, you can cut this by 2 sets, and when you finish the second set, then you do some lengthened partials. Now, you need to realize that you're going to failure. So you really need to focus on feeling, working in those muscles and really working, that technique and that eccentric part. Because if you're doing long lengthened partials and you're like this, and then okay, I finished, you're not working it. You need to work hard in this technique as well. I think you don't save actually a lot of time like the supersets or like the myo reps, but still, I really highly recommend this technique, especially if you want to maximize your muscle gains on the long term, right? Okay, now let's go to número 4. Now, this is not gonna be a technique, but it's gonna be more of a type of routine that you can do, and it's full body workouts. Now, I really enjoy full body workouts because you can train your muscle for you can train different muscles for very few sets. So that's the good part about it. So you train a bunch of muscles, which a few sets, you recover faster, and actually you can save more time. But how do you save more time? Well, if you do, for example, some agonist and antagonist muscle exercises that I suggested in the superset part, you're gonna realize that you can superset all of these exercises in a full body day, and you can do this only for 3 days a week. So if you have a really busy schedule that you only need to work out for 3 times a week, then I think full body workout routines are the best for you. Now, the big con is that when you actually go work out, you're gonna work out like around an hour or 30 minutes at least. So if you take a lot of time, or if you don't like taking a lot of time, then you really need to focus on which days on the week are the best, so you can at least invest 2 hours. Because yeah, it's 1 hour 30, but if you commute and you eat and all of this, you do your cardio as well, that is going to take more than an hour and 30 minutes. But still, I think full body workouts really save you time and energy, and you can actually save time and save days to even recover and have more rest days, or have days where you can do your cardio as well, right? It all depends on your schedule. So that was a great technique, very fast, very easy to understand, so I didn't really take a lot of time. Now, the last technique. Now let's recap first. We first talk about supersets, myo reps, long lengthened partials, full body workouts, right? Which are all like interconnected. And the last one, it's actually a very old school technique, but I really recommend it as well if you really enjoy this type of, and it's drop sets. Because the good thing about drop sets is that, let's say you have an exercise of 3 sets, once again. Now, if you realize on myo reps, you still need to do the 3 sets, right? Or you really need to do those 3 reps, 10-second rest, 3 reps, 10-second rest, 3 reps, 10-second rest. But the difference with the drop sets, and the key word here is dropping your weight. So you drop the weight 10% less in every set. So set 1 is 100 pounds, set 2 will be 90 pounds, and set 3 is gonna be 80 pounds. Now, why you do this? Because sometimes some exercise you're gonna realize that in set 2, if you're doing the same amount of weight, it's gonna feel more heavy and more difficult for you. And so the best thing to do is by lowering it, the weight, which is, this is also called reverse pyramid. And for you out there who like to visualize stuff, that's a reverse pyramid. You see, the pyramid is gonna have more weight here than here, right? So here's the 100 pounds, here's the 90, and here's the 80. And that's basically, you lower the weight after every set. And that's the best way you can watch it as well. And this is basically drop sets. This, like, reverse pyramid, it's drop sets with the mask on, basically. But you do the normal amount of rest time. Drop sets, you don't do rest. You just load the weight and continue doing it. So if you want to do reverse pyramid, then you need to rest the normal amount of time. But if you're gonna do drop sets, do that weight, then go to the second set, rest a period around 30 seconds, and go again. And this technique also is gonna save you time because you're resting less time, right? So this is a good way. These 5 techniques are a very good way for you to save time in the gym, because yeah, I think that the most important thing here is not by trying to save the most amount of time, but actually I really recommend you also as well, try to schedule your weeks. Don't schedule your days, schedule your weeks. You have Google Calendar, you have the own calendar on your iPhone or on your Android. You can do so many things to actually schedule your time in the best way that you're gonna realize that you can actually go and work out every day. I am an engineering student at the moment. I'm an electrical engineering student. I'm recording this video right now when I'm gonna start my final tests. I still have time to record my videos, edit my videos, go and work out 6 times a week with cardio as well. And it's by time management. Yes, you're gonna lose friends. Yes, you're gonna need to do the sacrifices. You can't go out every single week, but if you really want to grow, you really want to see results, that's part of the process, right? So if I really helped you in this video, please check out my latest video on me explaining fitness as an electrical engineering student. See you guys there.